Hello, 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 and happy fucking Wednesday, you guys, and welcome to People Talk Now. I'm your host, Vanessa Herrera, and this is the show where you ask about it and I talk about it. And let's not forget, you guys, that we are constantly trying to change the pace out there of what people are calling better days. And yes, welcome to episode 40. Thank you guys so much for listening. Welcome. I hope you all woke up with grateful hearts this morning and that you woke up with good intentions. And if you woke up today breathing, well, shit, guess what? You have another opportunity. So let's make the most of it. Don't let me down, because I know I'm not going to let you down. Oh, yeah. And by the way, holy fucking shit, it's episode 40. Thank you if you've listened to me thus far. Wow. Feels good to be here. Okay, so today, what are we talking about? What you see affects what you do, or what you can do. It's very tempting to think of our eyes as video cameras, and in that, basically to take that information about the world and try to give us a basically reasonable, accurate picture of what is going on in the outside world. A lot of the time, people will argue against this way of thinking. But I discovered someone who's thinking about vision. His thinking about vision was made, and his name was JJ Gibson, he pretty much developed an ecological theory on how we perceive the world started in the 1950s. His approach focused on asking, what is vision for? And he pointed out that the main function approach focused on asking, what is vision for? And he pointed out that vision is to help us perform actions in the world. And so our visual system should give us information that will basically help us to basically be and act more effectively. That means that any goals that you have can influence what you see. So there was a class study done by Bruner and Goodman, found that basically poor children judged the sizes of coins as larger than well-off children. And the idea is that if you really need a coin, then you will actually think it is larger than it actually is. And I found that to be very interesting because a lot of the times, based on like our upbringing, we may see something and it may mean so much more to us than what it actually means to somebody else, in so to sense. And we might look at it from a completely different perspective, based on our upbringing. I feel like this effect that he speaks of, it's interesting because most of the studies that I read up on always talk about how the goals and performance influence your perception. So, for example, you ever put a heavy backpack on your back and you're like trying to go up a hill and you're trying to climb? Well, what's going to happen? I mean, naturally, that hill climb is going to naturally be a little bit harder to climb, which in sense, like you look at the hill and you're going to be like, fuck, this hill is a little bit more, it may appear a little bit steeper because you have a little bit more weight on your back, right? But this study that has been done can go the opposite way. So it can change the way that you look at the world. So you can look at the extra weight on your back as an obstacle, right? You can say, well, this is weighing me down, and it's making this climb up to whatever you want to vision, whether it's success, whether it's a relationship, whether it's life. It can make it a little harder. Or you can say, you know what, this is actually going to make me want to work harder, right? And it can basically influence, obviously, the way that you perceive it, but it can also influence the way and how you're going to act on it, right? So basically, for example, it is possible that when a hole appears larger, right? People are more confident, and so they're willing to hit the ball a little harder. And so they're less likely to miss putts by being short of the hole, right? And so like you can look at it like in that sense, but you're not really taking that risk, right? Because if something was just easy for us to be done, then there hence would be like what, you know, we wouldn't really be trying as much as we could. We really wouldn't be challenging ourselves, so to speak. So that's just something that I kind of wanted to input really quick, that I basically, you know, read up on, and I thought it was some interesting little theories. And I know we hear this often, right? Our mindset is everything. So I feel like whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Mindset, you know, coupled with consistent action, I feel like is key to achieving and sustaining success. Because your mind, which basically, you know, use whatever you see, you know, your mind has to process. So the mind steers almost everything, right? So, look at what Gandhi says, you know, he says, your beliefs become your thoughts, and your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions, and your actions become your habits, and your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So, mindset. What is mindset? Well, mindset is basically defined as a mental frame or lens that selectively organizes and encodes information, thereby orienting an individual toward a unique way of understanding and an experience and guiding one toward corresponding actions and responses. So your mindsets, thoughts, beliefs, and expectations are lenses through which you perceive the world, and then these lenses affect how you live and the choices you make every day. So, you know, Carl Jung said something once, and I thought this is very interesting to bring up since I'm talking about, you know, what you see affects what you can do, or what you do, and the mindset, your mindset advantage, basically, right? So he said, the most important question anyone can ask is, what myth am I living, right? Because I constantly hear this a lot, like, you know, when everybody has different opinions in the world, and it's like, you're living your truth, like that's your truth, right? Whether it's an opinion, whether it's your opinion, whether it's a fact, you're living your truth. So the fact that he asked this question, right? Carl Jung, when he said, like, what myth am I living? So your mindset is formed by basically a combined interaction of thoughts and corresponding emotions and images. And the mindset people adopt have everything to do with their judgment of anything, right? And so when you're constantly hearing and repeating stories about the way things are, so the narrative gets daily reinforcement. So in short, mindsets are what you value, and two, the corresponding choices you make. You know, Gary Klein, he's a senior scientist, right? And macrocognition. And the reason why I'm bringing him into this, you know, conversation right now is because, you know, I love anything that has to do with the brain, our you know, cognitive abilities. And so he says mindsets aren't just any beliefs. He says they are beliefs that orient our reactions and tendencies, right? They serve a number of cognitive functions, and they let us frame situations. So they direct our attention to the most important cues so that we're not overwhelmed with information all the time. And they suggest sensible goals so that we know what we should be trying to achieve. And they prime us with reasonable courses of action so that we don't have to puzzle out what to do. When our mindsets become habitual, they define who we are and who we can become. So, you know, your state of mind influences your body, right? And you cannot easily separate the interdependence of the mind and the body. Think about it. So when you get up in the morning and you're just immediately in a bad mood or worried about something going on in your life, or you're feeling overwhelmed by work, that translates to your behavior and your overall performance, right? So when you approach the day with positivity and purpose, everything changes. Your lenses or perceptions determine your response in any given situation. So, like, let's say for a second here, like when your emotions and your thoughts are habitual, a neural network is being formed, right? That starts to regulate your mindset. And it literally keeps you in place. The habit becomes effortless over time. I know this to be true because I've put this into action, right? It once used to be basically something that I would just say, right? I would just say it, but anybody can talk, right? I'm sure we've heard this before. A lot of us out there, yes, you, the person listening to this, I am talking to you. This is a conversation we are having right now. So, words are words, but without putting them into action, they are irrelevant. They are just mere things floating, ideas flown into the air, and then they dissipated. Yes, we're using big words today. So, this explains how we, as people, as humans, we can basically master a habit such as reading, writing, eating healthy, meditating, exercise, insert whatever you want to insert in here, But your neural network has the habit in place after much practice and repetition, right? There is a reason why the people who've already became great and mastered at what they are good at, and then we, scurry along behind them like little ducklings, and we're like, holy shit, how are they so fucking fantastic at what they do? It's because, what they saw, meaning what they ingested, not just what they ate, not just it is also what they ingested with their eyes and what they looked at every day that had of any relevance or irrelevance or important value as to where they were trying to go, right? And what it was that what they were trying to master, because, while, we're all trying to master certain things or overcome certain addictions in our life. And I don't mean, drugs. We could be addicted to any goddamn thing out there, right? Whether it's checking your fucking phone every fucking day when you don't really need to. Yeah, we're using the word fucking today because it's fucking Wednesday and you guys already know. So, these are things that I'm saying, like, you have to basically practice in repetition the things that are going to catapult you to affect what you can do in your life, right? To guide you where you're supposed to be going, where you think you feel, but that feeling doesn't come through a feeling unless you just understand that this is something that you are good at. This is something that that you're good at. It brings you not just gratification, but basically it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like you're punching into a 9-to-5 job. So the more the same action is performed, the stronger your mindset becomes about that action. Therefore, when you feel like kind of like you're a little resistant to change, right? A lot of people out there sometimes are resistant to change. And it's not that you're a weak person, okay? You're not a weak individual. Don't ever let nobody tell you that you're weak. It's just that the strength of your neural network, okay? Those little tiny little fireworks going off in your brain, that makes you feel as if you cannot change. However, you can change. And if you are willing to change, then you're going to be able to change your mindset. So what you believe affects what you achieve. So your attitude, for example, because a lot of us out there be having attitude. I have my days, y'all. I have my days. Meditation helps, though, or just working out. Your attitude and your perspectives are part of conscious and part of unconscious and can be learned, unlearned, programmed, and reprogrammed in many different ways. So a simple change of mind can help you become your best self. You know, your best self. You know that best self that everybody's always talking about, you know? Trying to live my best life, trying to be my best self, you know? Trying to transcend. We're using words like transcend in here today. Yeah. Hello. Happy Wednesday. You know, mindsets affect your life expectancy. You know, there was a study done, and basically people with negative mindsets are less likely to proactively engage in healthy behaviors such as eating healthy, exercising, or living in the moment. Who would have fucking known, right? But the mindsets you have developed over time have serious implications, you know, on how you live your life. And if you're constantly thinking about everything wrong with your life, and if you feel like I'm talking to you right now, then just listen up. You are more likely to be stressed than people who choose to focus on the bright side of life. Okay? So, one mindset, okay, can flood your system with stress hormones and make you anxious all the fucking time. Another one, though, can make you feel confident, happy, cheerful. And as we go through life, which a lot of us do, we pick up beliefs that help us navigate through this world, right? And these beliefs have very real consequences for our psychological behavior, our performance sometimes in life. And it's up to you to choose your response in life carefully. Now, you have much more power than ever believed to influence your physical and mental realities that are happening right now. Because your mindset is not fixed, okay? The idea that change is difficult is simply a mindset, okay? And that mindset that you have is recognized by the body that you are using right now. The one that's listening to me, the one that gets up and goes to work, the one that chooses not to eat healthy or to eat healthy, right down to the genetic level. And the more you improve your mental habits, guess what? The more beneficial responses you'll get from that body of yours, the one that's listening to me right now. Okay? And so you can't control what has happened in the past. I tell you this all the time. I tell you guys, my listeners, but which by the way, shaped the brain you have today and programmed your cells and caused certain genes to switch on. But you have the power today, right now, and going forward to choose your perspective and your behavior, which will change your brain, cells, and genes. Who would have known, right? Who would have fucking known? But be bold, be willing, and you can change your mindset in your life by using your personal power or responsibility, okay? And choice. You can change your mindset and improve how you respond to every situation in life and work, right? But it boils down to what you see, okay? What you see in the media, what you read, what you listen to, what you watch. And these are things that you have to keep into consideration, right? Because your mind is very powerful. And I'm sure, you've heard a lot of fucking people out there, on the internet. Maybe you've heard other motivational speakers like myself, wink, wink. But yet, if you're like most people, you probably spend very little time reflecting on the way that you actually think, right? Because I know sometimes I for example, I spent most of this past weekend reflecting on the way that I think. And after all, who thinks about thinking? Who does that? But the way that you think about yourself, it turns into your reality. And if you draw, inaccurate conclusions about who you are and what you're capable of doing, well, you're already limiting your potential. So, again, the link between thoughts, feelings, and behavior, your thoughts are catalysts for self-perpetuating cycles. And when you think differently, or basically directly influences how you feel and how you behave. So if you think you're a failure, you'll feel like a failure. Then you'll act like a failure, which reinforces your belief that you must be a failure. And, I hear some people say, well, I'm really socially awkward. So when that person, that individual, goes to a social gathering, he stays in a corner by himself. And when no one speaks to him or her, they are basically reinforcing that belief that they must be socially awkward. But it's because of the lens of what they see affects what they do, right? And it can be a very hard thing to like a very hard pill to swallow sometimes, right? It could be basically very fucked up. The whole idea can just be so messed up, right? And we're the ones that have to start giving ourselves that sledgehammer to the back, man. So, again, affect, when I say what you see affects what you can do, I mean like your feelings. I don't know if you guys heard of this before, the ABC, the social psychology, the ABCs of affect, behavior, and cognition. I don't know if you guys ever heard of those. I read upon them once. So affect, meaning the A, affect for feelings, B, behavior, meaning your interactions, and C, cognition, your thoughts, right? How they all correlate with one another. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up, is because, again, I don't know if I've mentioned this, I probably have, but I am fascinated with the brain. I've read many books on the brain, and the human brain contains about 86 billion neurons, each of which can make contact with tens of thousands of other neurons. And so if you're thinking about this, the distinguishing brain feature in mammals, including humans, it is the more recently evolved cerebral cortex. And basically, the part of the brain that is involved in thinking, humans are highly intelligent creatures. And they use cognition in every part of their social lives. So psychologists, for example, they refer to cognition as a mental activity of processing information and using that information in judgment, right? But social cognition is cognition that relates to social activities, and that helps us understand and predict the behavior of ourselves and others. So over time, people develop a set of social knowledge that contains information about the self, other people, social relationships, and social groups. So there are two types of knowledge that are particularly important in social psychology. So, there's, attitudes and schemas, which is a knowledge representation that includes information about a person or a group. And then there's attitude, which is a knowledge representation that includes primarily our liking and disliking of a person, thing, or group. And then there's the there's the social effect. There's a social effect, and which includes feelings about ourselves and others. So, affect refers to the feelings we experience as part of our everyday lives. As our days progress and we find ourselves feeling happy or sad, jealous or grateful, proud or embarrassed. Although affect can be harmful if it is unregulated or unchecked, our affective experiences normally help us to function efficiently in a way that it increases our chances of survival. So, affect signals us that things are going all right because we're in a good mood or experiencing joy or serenity, or things that are not going so well. We're in a bad mood, we're anxious, upset, or we're mad. And affect can also lead us to engage in behaviors that are appropriate to our perception of a given situation. And when we are happy, we basically seek out and we socialize with others. And when we are angry, we may attack. When we're fearful, or we may run away. So when we experience affect in the form of a mood and emotions, like mood, for example, refers to the positive or negative feelings that, are sitting in the background of our everyday experiences. But most of the time, we're in a relatively good mood, right? We're in a positive mood, as some positive, and that has positive consequences, obviously, right? But it encourages us to do what needs to be done and to make the most of the situations we are in, right? So when we're in a good mood, our thought process opens up and we're more likely to approach other people. We're more friendly and helpful to others when we're in a good mood than when we're in a bad mood, and we think more creatively too. So on the other hand, when we're in a bad mood, we're most likely to prefer to remain ourselves or not interact with others, and our creativity suffers, or maybe we just tell people to fuck off. But, I'd rather you not do that, work through those moods, those feelings, Our emotions sometimes are brief, but are often intense. And, in comparison with our moods, emotions are shorter lived and stronger and more specific forms of effect, right? And I keep saying what you see affects you because these are all part of, these are all part of the effect, the effects and the behaviors and the cognition part of what's going on in our brains, right? Because what's going on, what we see affects our brains, and then our brains affects our body. So, emotions are basically caused by specific events, things that make us, for instance, jealous or angry. And they're accompanied by high levels of arousal. Whereas when we experience moods in normal everyday situations, we experience emotions, right? Only when things are out of the ordinary or unusual. And emotions serve as a role in helping us guide our social behaviors. So just as we run from a snake because the snake scares the shit out of us maybe, or we fear it, we think that it's, our body goes into like protect, maybe survival mode, we may try to make amends with other people when we feel guilty. So again, I had to bring up these, our attitudes and the effect of our feelings, our moods, and our emotions, because these are things that sometimes, we don't really talk about, or maybe we do talk about with our besties and stuff. But again, and the last thing I want to bring up, talking about what you see affects what you can do. I'm talking about social behaviors, interacting with others. So because we interact with and influence each other every day, like I believe I influence people, and some people out there influence me. We've developed this ability to make these interactions proceed efficiently and effectively, right? But we cooperate with other people to gain maybe outcomes that we could not get on our own. And we exchange goods, services, and other benefits with other people. And some of us would like to think that these behaviors are essential for survival in any society, right? But the sharing of goods and in services and emotions and other social outcomes, and is known as social exchange. We know that it's a term that's used, but social rewards, right? It's like the positive outcomes that we give and receive when we interact with other people include such as benefits as attention, praise, affection, love, financial support, and social costs, the negative outcomes that we give and receive when we interact with others, on the other hand, though, include, for instance, the frustrations that come with disagreements with others, the guilt that results if we perceive that we have acted inappropriately, and the effort involved in developing and maintaining, peaceful relationships. So, I feel like generally speaking, people sometimes may try to basically maximize their own outcomes by attempting to just become get as many social rewards as possible and attempting to minimize their social cost if, you just heard what I said before. So, everybody's but understand that all of these things that happen to us every day, whether it's socially, whether it's not socially, and, whether we're just talking about, what you see and your mindset literally will affect your performance or how you behave. And so be very mindful of what you're ingesting. Be very mindful of who you talk to. Be very mindful of the media that you ingest, and understand that all of these things, not only are they affecting you, but they are also basically affecting your whole body. Because, if you think that, you can just turn that off, figuratively speaking, you could just turn off all the noise, right? You could turn off your device and you can go to sleep. You could choose not to watch, maybe certain news outlets because you just constantly keep seeing negative, basically actions being shown and displayed, and somehow that is affecting your feelings and, your interactions with people or the world around you, then maybe that's something that you need to do. But everything goes hand in hand, you know what I mean? Like the type of mindset that you have, like I was saying a bit ago, has to do with everything that you see. And so in order for you to strengthen your neurological network going up there in your brain, the pulsating little fireworks that are going on, firing off, in your brain, is that you have to make a change. And the change basically starts with not only with what you eat, what you physically ingest, but what you visually ingest every single day. And it's true, because if that was the case, I'm going to bring up monks in this situation because I have such a deep meaningful respect for the monks out there, is that they have probably the most peace I've ever seen anybody possess, and that is because they are not ingesting all of the bad shit that's going on out there. And basically you just have to find a really, really good balance. So, yes, basically you guys, watch what you see. Make sure that it's beneficial towards the life that you are trying to project for yourself. And make sure that it's not going to affect your feelings, your interactions, and your thoughts. And just make sure that your mindset, that you are working to build a network, right? That you are trying to master your mind. Okay? And it starts by the things that you read, the things that you write, things you eat, how you take care of yourself, how you take care of the world around you, how you take care of your family, your friends. and just go with that, and go with these good words from me today. And just know that if you ever have any questions about how you can begin to even change the things that you see, and what steps can you start taking to just live a more free life, basically. Always feel free to ask me and reach out to me and email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com. And yes, I hope that anything I said here today, that it helped you in some sort of way. And I just really wanted to talk about that today, about, how our eyes are like video cameras, and they basically take in so much information for us on a daily basis. And when we're on our devices, when we're watching TV, when we're out, our eyes sometimes don't really know how to process whether we know that we're not in a violent situation. Sometimes it's our body doesn't process that right away sometimes, because sometimes our body just doesn't know how to process that, because we watch, there's so much violence just as much as there is peace. And so, we have to basically build, and we have to work towards creating that mindset so that it becomes effortless over time. And we have to start regulating and being mindful of what it is that we are allowing our eyes to digest, so that it won't limit the things that our body can physically do. So, yes. Thank you guys so much for listening today. It feels really good to be able to talk to you guys about this today. And I really hope that I was able to reach out to somebody today and that I've impacted somebody. And if this episode did impact you in any way, feel free to email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com. Reach out to me. I always answer back. And share it with a friend, share it with a loved one that you think this may help today. And yeah, you guys always know that I like to leave my show with a short little joke of the day and a word of the day. So, it's just to kind of, leave you guys with a little bit of laughter and humor, even if it's corny or even if it's really dirty. I never know what kind of joke I'm going to get in today. But, who cares? We're all people and we're all living and learning, So, I love you guys. I love you, all my loyal listeners, the people that have been with me from day one. You guys know who you are, man. Yeah, you guys can hear it in my voice. You guys already know. So let's start with the joke of the day. So today's joke of the day is, it's called Always Dizzy. So the patient says, "You see, doctor, I'm always dizzy for half an hour after I get up in the morning," said Carla. Doctor says, "Well, try getting up half an hour later." Oh gosh. Yeah, that one was can we cue the laughter on that? So yes, that one was pretty corny, but that's also pretty fucked up of her doctor to say, because, that's the truth. Some doctors out there be pretty fucked up. Okay, so let's move on, you guys, to the word of the day. So today's word of the day is lissom. Lissom is spelled Lissome. So, the definition of lissom is easily flexed, characterized by easy flexibility and grace. Nimble. Did you know lissom, sometimes spelled lissom, is gently altered form of its synonym, lithosom, while lissom tends to be the most popular choice these days. The two words have similar past. They both appeared in the 18th century, and they both trace back to the much older lith, which first appeared in English during the 14th century and comes from an old English word meaning gentle. Lissom can also be an adverb meaning in a supple or nimble manner, but this use is rare. So there you go, you guys. Word of the day, lissom. You guys go out there, use the word, let me know how you use it. I don't know. This one's got me like fucked up this morning. I don't got enough caffeine running through my body right now. And you guys know, half of you guys know I don't drink coffee anymore. So I got to get my matcha in to like figure this one out. Because like, I'm like, how can I use listen in a sentence right now? But no, too early. But if you guys figure it out though, hashtag people talk now, hit me up, share it on your page and I'll go ahead and share it to mine. Because, sharing the love, sharing the wealth, and sharing the fucking positivity. Because goddamn, everybody knows we could use some more of that. And as always, you guys, I appreciate you guys so much for listening, for watching. If you are listening to this through YouTube, and if you like what you heard today, give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe if you're a new listener. Hi, I'm Vanessa Herrera. I'm the host of People Talk Now. And yeah, you guys, as always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. And have a kick-ass Wednesday. Bye.